The area beyond Port Angeles is rural and increasingly remote as you head further and further west. The concern is that Clallam County will be cut into sections by collapsing bridges, landslides, and tsunami impacts. They even have a name for it: micro islands.
Out here in Joyce, we're kind of fiercely independent, so there's a lot of survival mentality out here anyway.
Judy Harvey is a volunteer from a small community 20 miles west of Port Angeles known as Joyce.
But if you look at it as bites, we have a first aid section.
And inside the Joyce Grange Hall, she and others have set up everything you would need to survive. It starts with a sign. It may be days or weeks before anybody can come rescue you, and those first responders also likely to be volunteers.
Don't bother coming down my driveway if I have an okay sign. Come down and see how bad I am if I have a help sign out there.
And if you're really in trouble, no sign is an indicator somebody couldn't make it to the end of the driveway. Okay, so why the tent? You could use it inside, but it's here mostly to make a point. You can section off a piece of your house as a tent by walling off the dining room and the kitchen or a bedroom.
You can use blankets. You can use any kind of ability to make a place in your home where you can have a warmer section to crawl into at night, because the heating is going to be an issue. So the whole point of a small section where it's warm and dry is kind of critical.
And remember, don't bring a stove or barbecue inside. People have died from carbon monoxide poisoning. Having something to use as a toilet outside, necessary, especially if yours stops working. Sanitation a big concern, even down to your shoes.
They determined you need an indoor pair of shoes and an outdoor pair of shoes. You don't want to be bringing anything in that's unsanitary into an environment you're trying to keep clean.
Water and water purification equipment, radios that can receive emergency channels like the National Weather Service. Even cards, board games, anything to keep your sanity. Chances are there'll be no cable or power for satellite TV. It seems like a lot, and it is, but odds are you have a lot of this stuff already.
Approach it in small bite-sized pieces. You'll get there.
And that's critical. Again, you have a lot of this already. They have also gone around, they're anchoring all their propane tanks, which used to just sit up on blocks. Guess what's going to happen? You know, they're going to roll over, they're going to roll down the driveway, or worse, and then you're going to need that kind of fuel. So the key word here is resilience. So it's not just getting through and surviving, it's getting beyond that. Can we have a town that is standing? Can we keep our buildings up? Can we survive? And throughout the day, we're going to be talking a lot about this, including an entire town that is moving up out of the tsunami zone.
It's impressive that 1,000 people in this town of Joyce have coordinated this way. And I've never really heard of camping inside before.
Well, and what's interesting, you're going to hear from Jim Buck. He's a former state legislator who's helped to really organize this here and organize these folks. And it's really spread across Clallam County, which goes all the way from Forks and Nia Bay to past Sequim.
Wow.
It's an area half the size of Puerto Rico,
Very
so they're
impressive.
looking at everything in Puerto Rico, and they're like going, that could be us.
And the people who live in Seattle or Bellevue that say, okay, well, that's bad for them, but what about us? Again, 14 days, people have to get that in their minds, right?
So out of this huge exercise involving the National Guard Emergency Management last year, the whole idea of be on your own for 3 days, 14, here it's 30, and for good reason.